What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Dad Collective Captain's Log. Once again, this is open to all listeners. So I wanted to start off giving a statement regarding current events that have been going on. And I just want to say that the answer to chaos is not more chaos. At the end of the day, put plainly, Satan silenced a voice that was bold for Christ. It doesn't matter at this point how gentle or not that voice was, or if you disagreed or not with everything that voice said. This was a voice that proclaimed the full gospel minutes before being silenced. Satan thinks he won, and now amongst the confusion of society, he is still sowing seeds of division. This is deeper than politics, so leave that at the door. This is more than one man and his viewpoints. We cannot major in the minors. The forces of darkness have set traps and schemes that I see even believers falling for. Satan has shifted our focus off of Christ and onto people. We must not let our priorities and identity be rooted in culture instead of kingdom. The Pharisees are a perfect example of a people group that chose culture over Christ. 2 Corinthians 2:11 says, "So that we would not be outwitted by Satan, for we are not ignorant of his designs." Satan's designs are to destroy the mutual forgiveness, love, and unity that is to characterize God's people as those who have been reconciled to God through Christ. Now, I encourage you to read 2 Corinthians 5, verses 16, all the way to chapter 6, verse 2. And as the prior verse, 2 Corinthians 2:10, contextualizes, forgiveness of others will restore unity in the church and ensure that Satan cannot take advantage of any division. As 2 Timothy 2:23 says, "Have nothing to do with foolish, ignorant controversies. You know that they breed quarrels." So let this move of Satan not discourage or divide us. This should be a wake-up call for people of God to finally stand boldly. But we cannot forget the last portion of 1 Peter 3:15, which says, "In gentleness and respect." Satan may have silenced one voice, but I already see many more voices waking up. We should steward this momentum and raise our voice for Christ. And let me leave you with a couple more verses related to this subject. So write these down to meditate on later. Romans 16:17, Ephesians 6:11, 1 Corinthians 1:10, Colossians 3:1 and 2, Matthew 12:25, and all of Titus chapter 3. So it's funny how the alley loan command of this week kind of matches up perfectly with what's been going on. And that is in 1 Corinthians 12:25, which says that there may be no division in the body, but that the members may have the same care for one another. Each of us as believers in Christ have a distinct belonging to the body of the Big C Church, the family of God. Even though we are all different with unique callings, we are called to have unity. We are to be one body with one purpose. So instead of focusing on what is different about us or any divisions among us, we should unite under the kingship of Christ. Our gifts are meant to build each other up, to care for each other. So first, we must live with humility and humble ourselves before both God and man. Then we align our goals with God. But then the enemy brings fear, so we must overcome that to accomplish our goals. Fear has less ground to stand on when you know and are confident in your purpose, calling, and assignment. I saw recently that Ruslan broke these down pretty well. Purpose is to know God and make Him known, to glorify God and reflect Christ. This does not change and is the same for all believers. Purpose is the foundation. Without it, ambition will drift. With it, ambition becomes worship. calling is revealed step by step as you walk with God. It is the unique way you express and live out God's purpose through your gifts and passions, as well as with your time, talent, and treasure. Assignments are specific roles, opportunities, and seasons God places before you. It is a task that can shift with time, but still serves your purpose. If you aren't solid or sure in your identity, then you will begin to imitate. It may be good for a new believer to imitate their mentor, but that can't be a long-term habit. Just like how our kids may try to imitate us. So as dads, we should guide them to shift from imitation to standing in their identity. Because at the end of the day, imitation breeds superficiality and hypocrisy. It allows for deception by worldly influences and ultimately means failure to conform to God's will. The only imitation a true believer should be doing is imitating Christ. Imitating anything else creates a loss of one's purpose in Christ. You can often tell someone is walking in their calling when they are not getting burnt out. And it can be dangerous if we confuse assignment with our calling and make something permanent that was only intended to be a season. And if everybody's fishing in the same spot, no fish will be caught at some point. As fishers of men, we need to disperse into the various venues of our calling. Our gifts make room for us, and our various assignments are often classrooms preparing us for the next one in the journey of walking in our calling. So now I want to shift gears for a moment. Psalm 119:71 says, "It is good for me that I was afflicted, that I might learn your statutes." And then 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in your weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me." So we learn from hardship, adversity, sufferings, and affliction. Trials make us stronger when we submit to God. Any suffering on this earth that we experience is not in vain, for God works all things for good for those that love him, as Romans 8:28 says. God is able to redeem all actions. Sometimes, certain types of pain are necessary for an eventual good we cannot yet see, despite the suffering of those left behind. Sacrifices are not wasted. There's no waste at the altar. God can use suffering in this fallen world to grab our attention, wake us up, and drive us closer to him. Suffering removes the false belief that we are in control, as well as the illusion of self-sufficiency. Once the illusion of self-reliance is removed, we are driven towards deeper relationship with God. Remember in Philippians 1:14, where Paul used his imprisonment as a wake-up call to embolden other Christians of the day? When we speak truth, the world will do its best to silence us. The wicked despise the light, as we see in John 3:20 and John 15:18. God's priority is the salvation of souls, not our earthly comfort. Jesus never promised we would be free of suffering, but rather he said the opposite. Just look at John 16:33. And that's why Philippians 1:29 says we will suffer for his sake. But through it all, we can rest in the comfort and promise of the Lord to be with us always, as Psalm 34:18 says. Now go forth and be bold as a lion. And that's from Proverbs 28:1. So thanks for listening, you guys. This is the Dad Collective Captain's Log. I'll see you next week.